last 15 months, I've tracked every single play that I've played and posted on PrizePicks. That's over 5,000 individual bets, and what the data has showed me should completely change how you bet on PrizePicks. Most PrizePicks content is vibes based, it's flexing based, it's I drive this car, you should tail my plays, it's this guy had a good game against them last week. That's not how you win on PrizePicks. Nobody is actually sitting down with over 5,000 bets tracked, all completely free for you to see, to learn how to actually win on PrizePicks. And by the end of this video, you're gonna know what sports I bet on, what type of bets I play, what type of slips I play, everything you need to know to maximize your ROI at the end of this video. Let's get right into it. I've been logging my picks daily for the last 4 years, but we're gonna be looking at just the last 15 months of data, just because that's what's most relevant. And one of the questions I know people are gonna ask is, why did you track this many bets? This seems very tedious. It's for one simple reason. I think credibility is extremely important in this space specifically. Similar to something like day trading, if you're gonna wanna follow someone that is giving you day trading advice, you wanna make sure they're profitable. So this is my way to say, you can look at every single bet that PropGeekZeke has ever placed to learn that he is actually profitable. You don't have to just say, oh, he drives a nice car and he's flexing that, and he's putting a lot of money on slips, which is obviously not a good sign actually. But this is my way of saying everything you need to know about me is right here. It is the #1 most credible and transparent way to show you that I'm actually a profitable gambler, and what I say you should take as advice. Here's how the tracking works. I pay a third party that every time I submit a bet and send it to my Dub Club and my Discord, they log the entry, how much I'm risking, what I could win, the odds of that play, whether it wins or loses, and then the net total for the month, the year, the day, etc. Everything. So I'm going to show you guys, this is the 2025 recap. In the top right, you are going to see my total units risked, units won, return on investment, average odds, win rate. I know a lot of this is a lot of math, but I'm going to break this down as simple as possible to where a 5th grader can understand this. So here's what you need to know. Units risked is very simple. A unit is just a percentage of your bankroll. So I'm not going to tell Joe Schmo to bet $50 on this parlay, because $50 to Joe Schmo might mean a lot more than it does to me, or it might mean not enough. What you do as a sports bettor is you need to bet units, so universally everyone bets the same amount of risk. So a unit, let's just say, is 1% of your bankroll. For simple math, if you have $100, a unit's 1%. Obviously, you're going to bet more. You're going to want to have a bigger bankroll than $100, but it's very simple. It's just, hey, I'm telling you to put 1% of what you're gambling on this bet. Units won is obviously just how many percentages did you gain. So 172 units won. If you never raise your unit, means that you almost tripled your starting bankroll, because obviously you start with 100 units. Units won is, that would add 172. So at the end of the year, you'd have 272 units in your account. So 200, you gained 172%. Smart bettors raise their unit, right? As you win more, you want to raise your bankroll. So if you have a good month, your bankroll goes from $500 to $1,000, you're going to start betting more. So realistically, that units won number is a lot higher because people increase their bankrolls, etc. Return on investment is also very simple. It's the same return on investment you hear in every type of business in the world. It's just how much are you betting or how much are you winning every time you bet. So simple math on that is, if you bet $100 on every single parlay I've taken, on average, you're going to win $22.82 back. That is an excellent ROI. Another thing that a lot of people don't get when they're talking about sports betting is that the S&P 500 has an 8% ROI. If you're sports betting and you're getting an 8% ROI, I'd rather just put an S&P 500. It's a lot less work. It's a lot safer, which it is safer, I guess. I don't even know if I'd say that, but it's a lot less work. I would say that. But sports betting compounds daily. The S&P 500 compounds yearly, right? So when you're talking about an 8% ROI every day, $1 becomes $1.08 the next day, and then so on and so forth, right? On the S&P 500, $1 becomes $1.08 at the end of the year. So it's a massive difference. But here's my 2025 data. I'm just going to scroll on the sheet just so you can see every single bet that's logged, tracked, won. And I know you see a lot of losses through here, but we're going to talk about why that doesn't matter, because right here I've actually won. The loss column just decides whether the parlay loses or wins. We're going to look at 2026 real quick, and then we'll talk about this. 2026 so far, that says Midway through March, 260.75 units risked, 31 units won, 11.83% ROI. We're going to go back to 2025 here. Average odds is just what was the average parlay you were placing. So you can see odds here, 39, 33, 48. That's 48.5x, right? 29.5x. My average odds was so high this year because there was a MLB correlation, I don't want to say glitch, but it was a massive pricing error that we took advantage of. You can see right here we had a really bad loss streak, but also you're playing 50x parlays. You need to win one of every 49 to be profitable. We did a lot better than that. As you can tell, we had a 22.8% ROI. So even though my parlay hit rate was 16.52%, because I'm playing these 45, like right here, you win 12 units when you win one parlay. And we're betting a quarter unit on all of these. That covers your next almost 50 losses because you're playing such long shots. Now, if you look at 2026, they've patched that. My average odds is much lower. My win rate's much higher because they patched that. You were getting 50x. Basically what we were doing, I'll summarize it real quick, is let's use the Dodgers as an example. Everyone knows the Dodgers. I would bet on Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman to score a run. And I'd bet on Will Smith to get an RBI. But as your team scores more, you get more at bats. The probability that Mookie and Shohei score a run is obviously higher. You're batting around the lineup. The pitcher's giving up a lot of hits. So what we would do is, let's say they're facing, I'm trying to think of a bummer, Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo over 4.5 hits allowed with Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman run, and Will Smith RBI. That's a 5-leg parlay. We were getting 50x. That is massive. If you know anything about baseball, obviously that's a massive pricing error. It's like pairing Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce yards. Obviously, those are very correlated. Patrick Mahomes throws 300, it's going through Travis Kelce. So that's Patrick. We're not going to spend all day talking about that. But as you can see, based on this right now, what I'm trying to show you is I am a very, very, very profitable sports bettor, especially when you're talking about PrizePicks. I'm the cream of the crop. This is not a brag. This is me showing you I have tracked 5,000 bets to last year over a 22% ROI, this year over an 11% ROI. That is elite territory. That is one of the best PrizePicks sports bettors on the planet, right? It is very, very good. Let's talk about, after you look at this 5,000 individual bets tracked, what are the things that I've taken away that you need to learn, okay? There's 3 things that I'm going to talk about that are extremely important. The first one is going to be average odds. So we're going to talk about average odds. This is a quick little sheet I made up. Again, I'll explain it all like a third grader. It's going to be very simple. A 2-leg power to break even, which means if you place 100 parlays, what is your needed hit rate just to make $0, lose $0? The math says that it is 57.75%. This is not a guess. This is not, if you increase the sample size, it's going to go down. This is just a statistical fact. If you go and play 2 minus 137 legs on FanDuel, your payout is going to be plus 200, right? On a PrizePicks, your 2-leg power pays out plus 200 because it's 2x profit plus your return for 3x, okay? Again, this is just basic math. You don't need to really understand how it works. You just need to understand what slips you should and shouldn't play. These are the slips that you should play, are the green ones, okay? And I'll explain my 2 favorites because it's not just go straight down here, 6 flex is the best, boom. Because I don't even know if I believe that 6 flex is the best for the average bettor. Now, the parlay size, or the parlay that I place the most, is a 3-leg power for 6x. The average odds on that is minus 122. You need to hit 54.95% of your bets to break even long-term on that. I know that I can beat that long-term by line shopping, plus EV betting, steam chasing, tracking line movement, and then golf. I do a lot of, not that, I do a lot of like originating with golf that I'm very good at. But I play a lot of 3-leg powers. Now, this bracket or the picture says 5-leg and 6-leg flexes are the best. The only issue with that, right, especially when you're talking about between a 5-leg and a 6-leg flex, is I prefer a 5-leg over a 6-leg almost every time because the variance is much lower, right? When you're playing 6 legs, you need all 6 legs to hit. Obviously, right? You're not playing to get the 2x. Now, the 2x is nice or whatever it is, but That means you need to flip a coin, a weighted coin where it's 55% heads, 45% tails, and you need to land on heads 6 times. Obviously, that's possible, and if you place 1,000 parlays, that is going to happen more often than not, and you're going to win. But the average sports bettor doesn't want to place 1,000 parlays to get the variance on their side of where they're profitable, right? That's why I really recommend a 6x, because the difference right here, 0.7, is not major. 5 flex on underdog is very good as well, where you can get minus 121. Obviously, 5 flex on PrizePicks is better. But the main thing that you need to take from this graphic, okay? This is all you need. You could have literally zoomed past the last 5 minutes of me talking. 2-leg powers, very bad. 3-leg powers, very good. 3-leg flexes, very bad. 5-leg flexes, very good. That's all you need to know. We're going to move on to the next topic. But if you look through my sheet, which anyone can look at, it's free to look at in my Discord. You can open it. The guy that I pay to track it sends it every single week, updated. I never submit 2 legs, ever. I have never submitted a 2-leg power on PrizePicks, except in very rare cases that we will talk about. And 3-leg flex, I've never submitted in my life. That is the most dog slip I've ever seen, okay? So, let's go back to the recaps thing that you learned from that is, what slip types do I play? Now, number 2 is going to be another thing that I've talked about a lot, but if you're just clicking on this video, something that you see all the time on Twitter, and that is just terrible gambling advice. Okay, so I just opened up PrizePicks, and I know that this is the biggest scam, so I'm not even going to pre-build this parlay to check my math. I'm going to do it live right now to show you how bad these are. We are going to take the, what is that, 4 or 5, we're going to take the 6th and 7th most popular plays on PrizePicks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 24.5, Luka Doncic over 24.5. You can see 2 correct plays, 1.5x. You got to ignore this. That's just some random thing. 2 correct plays pays 1.5x. That means if you bet $100, you're profiting $50. Very, very bad. Okay? Now we're going to go to, which everyone, FanDuel knows about. It's a sports book that's been around a lot longer, that has a lot better price evaluation than PrizePicks, right? Like FanDuel's worth, let's say, $30 billion. PrizePicks is worth like $5 billion. FanDuel has won long-term over people way longer, right? So we're going to go to Golden State. I don't know why I just clicked Golden State. I thought Luke was on the Mavs for a second. I'm tripping. We're going to go Lakers. Luka Doncic, 25 plus points, minus 530. And then we are going to take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 25 plus at minus 330, okay? That's minus 183. So $100 on this pays out $54.89. $100 on this pays out $150. Now, this to win 54 is obviously pure profit. So FanDuel is giving you $5 extra on this compared to PrizePicks, okay? Again, FanDuel has been around forever, it feels like, right? $30 billion profit. They build new casino every day. They literally pay your biggest influencers fat stacks to promote them because they know that they are winning long term, right? You cannot go bet on the 2 stars on FanDuel to score 25 plus points and beat them long term, okay? That's fact number 1. Now, with that information, if you know that this right here is a losing parlay at when you win $55, winning 50 on PrizePicks is even worse, right? There's this thing that a lot of, if you scroll on Twitter, this is one of the easiest ways to lose your bankroll. You scroll on Twitter and you see some guy that threw $1,000 on this, right? To win $1,500. And he's like, this is free money. Luka, baby mama, divorced him. Shai Gilgeous scored 25 every game. He MVP stat padding. Come hop in my Lambo. Let's ride off, okay? You see something like that and you submit this parlay. If you went and placed this on FanDuel and got $5 extra every time you bet, you would still lose money. So why would you place it on PrizePicks knowing you lose money? But these guys, they can place $1,000. Watch what happens when I try to place $1,000. You can see I have $2,000 in my account. $1,000 bet. It is going to say, I won't let me submit it. They took away the freaking banner that shows up because I've showed it off so much. There used to be a banner that shows up that says your maximum limit's $5, okay? Zeke, let's just bet $100. Won't let me do it. Zeke, let's bet $50. Won't let me do it. Let's bet $25. Won't let me do it. Dude, I just want to throw a Chipotle bowl on it. $10? Let me just bet $10, PrizePicks. They will not let me do it. The lowest I can bet is literally $5, okay? Just to show you, I'm going to submit this. This is not a good parlay, obviously. But this is what it looks like when it actually submits it. Lineup submitted. Obviously, terrible slip. but they will not let me bet $10. Do you know why? Because they know that I am a winning sports bettor. They literally went in, banned my account basically where I can only bet $5 for $20 a day, and that's all I can bet because I've won so much, right? So you have PrizePicks telling you Zeke wins too much, I'm not going to take his money. You have 5,000 bets track saying Zeke wins too much, and these all say Zeke's very sharp, you should listen to him. PrizePicks is literally, Zeke is so sharp, I'm scared to take $7 from him. I won't even let him take a Starbucks drink, bro. You want to go buy your girl Starbucks drink for $6.15, you tip $1, right? Submit lineup. I can't even bet that because I have won so much. So what you need to realize is what I'm telling you is factual. When you see Joe Schmo on Twitter flexing a Lamborghini with a money stack and a Rolex on, and he's betting $1,000, the reason why he's betting that is because he has all these absolute dummies that believe this and pay for his plays and use his code on apps and follow him, and as soon as they see a Rolex, like, this guy has to be good at sports betting because he has a Rolex. That's not how it works, guys. Okay? So, rule number 2, right? A long-winded way to say, goblins and demons are all bad. I do not go on here and click, okay, Bam Adebayo scored 83. I'm guessing this is a popular play because whatever reason, I scored 83. Whatever reason, this is a popular play. Click more, right? Chet Holmgren, demon. Damn, bro. Chet's hit every game. Let me play that, right? Onyeka. Ooh, 4 out of 5 last green 2. I hit that for sure. And then let me check Josh Giddey. Oh, yeah. All of these have hit 80% of the last 5 games, and I'm getting 14x. Let me submit this bet. That is not how you win on PrizePicks, okay? The reason, think about this. PrizePicks is a business. If you ran a sports betting business, what is your one goal? You have one job if you run PrizePicks. To take money from the sports bettors' pockets and put it in yours. So would you ever add anything that helps sports bettors win more? No, right? They limit me because they are so worried about their bottom line. Anything that they add is to make them more money. The popular tab is a way for casuals to get on and say, okay, these are all probably have good hit rates. That's why they're popular. Rob Dillingham, last 5 green, I'm going to play that. That is exactly what they want you to do. This button right here was only created to trick more people into thinking that any of this matters, right? Any of this matters. None of this matters. The same thing, they just added demons and goblins in the last year. They did that because they are trying to take more money from your pocket. Demons and goblins are the worst plays on PrizePicks. Almost guaranteed, okay? Because if FanDuel is paying you more, like that Shea example was actually a smaller difference than average on a parlay. Like if I went and did Chet and Dillingham, I bet it's worse, right? But the issue is people think, okay, if as long as I can hit as many bets as possible, that's how I win money. And that's just not true. I just showed you I had a 22.8% ROI over, let's say last year was 3,500 bets tracked, okay? Over 3,500 individual bets tracked. I submitted 0 demons and goblins. I did 22.8% ROI. No one, and I mean absolutely effing no one, that submits demons and goblins every day could even hang with me. And again, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to educate as much as possible. None of these guys can hang with me that are doing that and that are betting $500 to $1,000 on a slip. Literally none of them, right? Because what matters is not your prop hit rate, okay? You can hit 75% of props on PrizePicks and you will lose money long term if you're playing props where you need to hit 80, 90% of your bets to make money. The goal is not to get as high of a hit rate as possible on PrizePicks. The goal is to make money, okay? You could go on here and take like Wemby 23.5, Hero 17.5, like do that for every play. Hit 80% of your bets and still lose money. Because FanDuel, right? This Shea got taken off for whatever reason, but FanDuel knows all of this. They price everything, and they are saying even if you hit Luke at minus 500, that's obviously a massive, massive price to pay. You're still going to lose long term. They're not going to hang any line they think they lose at long term. Every bet that FanDuel loads onto their screen, they think they win at long term. Okay? So number 1 is the best slip type. Number 2 is, what prop types to avoid demons and goblins, last 5 data, everything. Number 3 is going to be what should you actually play? What does PropGeekZeke play? What has he learned in his 5,000 bets track to whatever this average is, let's say, 18%, because this is 3,500 bets. This is only like 1,500. What has PropGeekZeke learned over his 17, 18, 19% ROI that I can for myself, okay? So there's a saying in gambling that the sportsbooks always win, right? I'm literally telling you that on FanDuel right now. FanDuel always wins. They're never going to post a price that they lose at, that they think they lose at. How do you use that to your advantage, though? What you can do, I have this in my Discord. There's other websites that do it. Obviously, if you join my Discord, I send out every single play that I take to where you know that you actually beat PrizePicks long term, okay? So, like, let's use this play as an example, and then I'll show you. I'll make it as easy as possible. I took this 3-leg parlay for 6x, again, 3-leg 6x. I did not bet on Shea Gilt, like my favorite NBA players. I bet on plays that I thought had value to sportsbooks. Not that I thought, that I knew had value to sportsbooks because I know the prices off the top of my head, I remember. Tyler Tanner was minus 175 on BetOnline, under 4.5 rebounds. I told you, right, if we go back to this education tab real quick, on a 3-leg power, you need to hit minus 122. So if you can find something that's minus 170, obviously you're going to beat this minus 122 price, right? So Tyler Tanner was minus 175 or whatever, under 4.5 rebounds. Mario Saint whatever was minus 160, under 1.5 threes made. And then Yaxel Lindenberg or whatever, right, was 23.5 PR on FanDuel. On BetOnline, he was like 16.5 points, 7.5 rebounds. It's like a 22.5 projection, and he was 20.5, okay? When I say that I did no research on this play besides comparing book odds to PrizePicks, no research. I don't know what amount of rebounds Nebraska gives up. I don't know what Tyler Tanner's season average is. I don't know what this guy's season average is, or if Texas is a 3-point funnel defense. I don't know if Yaxel was going to get benched for whatever reason, or if SLU has a big defender that can keep him off the glass. I don't care about none of that. Because if sportsbooks that are worth $30 billion that pay people millions of dollars to price lines all say that these are extreme value to a minus 122 price tag, I'm going to bet it. Now, obviously, you can see the result. Again, my limit's $5, but this hit soared under, right? He cashed like damn near in the first half. This guy hit 1-3 late in the game, and Tyler Tanner had no rebounds in the second half to soar under, okay? Now, that's how you actually win, is you find profitable bets. Or how do I do that? First of all, you can just join my Discord. I send out, this is my job. I sit here all day and do this, right? But I also have bots in my Discord where it will say, hey, FanDuel is minus 158 for Tavion Banks over 5.5 rebounds against Nebraska versus Iowa, okay? Fair odds is minus 134. That just means after you take out the VIG, which you don't need to worry about. This just means, I guess I'll explain it real quick. This just means, so if FanDuel is saying they're hanging 158, that means they win at 158. You want to find what they think the true price is, right? Because after they add on their tax, which is what VIG is, they're saying, okay, we think it's minus 134. We're going to add on some tax and get to minus 158, okay? So fair odds, minus 134. PrizePicks of 5 legs, only minus 119. So your expected EV on this bet is 5.31% when you throw it in a 5-leg parlay. You get these sent directly to your phone 24/7 for every single app and book in the world, and it's that simple. So you can join my Discord. You can get all my plays. You can get all of Jet's plays because Jet is someone in my Discord that's very profitable. You can see he posted this, which we collabed on this. This was my NBA play, some of his MLB plays. He's very good at MLB. You can also get all these bots plays. These are all tracked profitable. We update the algorithm every single month to make sure that we are weighting the sharp books correctly. We're back testing every single bet that gets sent. It is a very, very good bot. There's also websites that do this that I'm not going to talk about, but that's how you actually find profitable bets. So you book odds, you use optimizers, or you just tail someone that does all of this for you, right? You can go spend 50 to 100 to 150 bucks on an optimizer, try to learn, or you can join a Discord where I'm extremely active and where you can ask me questions in my chat, right? You can go through here, read questions in my chat. By the way, Brooks Koepka, not winning the Masters, but you can do all of this. You can learn in my Discord. I talk in here 24/7, and then you can also tail all my plays. You get these plays sent directly to your phone before I post them on Twitter and it bumps. You get a good amount of time to submit them now. Some bets do get removed, because, again, we were playing profitable bets. This Tyler Tanner play at minus 175, PrizePicks does not want to hang that line. So you're going to have to try to join the Discord and get that line, 5 to 7 minutes after I post it, because if you try to wait 3 hours, all my bets are gone. If you tail someone and their bets are up 3 hours later, they are a losing better. It's that simple. You should not be betting on something that can be bet on for 3 hours, because that just means it's a bad line, right? All right, we're going to recap my 3 biggest things, what you should have learned from my 5,000 plus bets track to over a 17% ROI, and that you can apply moving forward to actually profitably sports bet, okay? So again, I have every single bet track that I've taken over the last 15 months. You can see it all here. I also have PrizePicks if you're interested, or Underdog if you're interested in that. 241 units risk, 19% ROI. Basically, I'm like that. And you can see every single bet that I've tracked. You can look on the Google Sheet for free in my Discord. My third party sends it out every year. And the 3 things you need to learn, okay? Number 1, you need to play the right slip types. Like this thing I showed you, you can take 3 winning picks in a 3-leg parlay, put them in 2 legs, and you will lose money, because the average odds on a 2-leg is 3% higher, basically, right? Extremely bad. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, Demons and Goblins are terrible bets. And looking at the last 5 are terrible bets. The last 5 does not matter. If every single book in the world thinks Bam Adebayo at 21.5 is the correct line, there is no chance that you, who does 15 minutes of research, can beat them long term. That's no offense to you. It's just a fact. There's a reason why they build new casinos every day. They win. They're worth $30 billion. It's because they can beat casuals that think they can do this. Yeah, Bam feels like he's going off today. Ain't no such thing as gut instinct, okay? Stop trying to do that. And then tip number 3, actually line shop plus EV bet, track line movement, right? So one thing I didn't talk about real quick, Tyler Tanner. He was hanging like minus 130 on Bet Online, and then he goes to minus 150, then he goes minus 160, then he goes minus 170, right? So Bet Online is getting action, and they are respecting that action enough to move the line farther down to where it's more probable that he goes under. So I track that, right? These bots automatically do that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And obviously, I automatically do that for you, whether you want book bets, right? Like you can see Polymarket bets, you can see FanDuel bets, you can see FanDuel, DraftKings, Kalshi, DraftKings again, you want PrizePicks, you want Underdog, we got it all. You can just join my Discord, tell me, learn how to sports bet. There's plenty of people. You can go watch a video where someone joined my Discord 3 years ago, has made over 100K. I went out and golfed with him. You can watch the video. And over 25K of what he's made has not even been stuff that I've sent in my Discord, because he learned how to do it and started doing some stuff on his own when I wasn't sending bets, when I went on a cruise, when he has time throughout his day, because let's say, I send this bet at 3 p.m. and you're in a work meeting, where that means you can't tail it, right? But then you're going to try to make your own bets once you learn, and you can place boom, 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 start winning money, okay? So if you're interested in all that, there's going to be a Dub Club link there's going to be a link below to my Dub Club in my Discord. You just pay on the join the Discord Dub Club, and you can get everything. You can ask me questions. I answer questions all day. There's literally an Ask Zeke category where you can ask questions, and me or my team will answer questions for you. And that's it. If you enjoyed this video and subscribe, it helps other sports bettors learn how to actually properly sports bet. And then the other thing I want everyone to do, if you stayed along this long in the video, is drop a comment on which one of the 3 tips that I explained actually surprised you and you think you're going to apply the most. Was it the slip types? Was it Demons and Goblins are bad? Was it learning how to plus EV sports bet? I want to know what you guys were most surprised by and what you're going to include in this. If you guys are watching the video, if you have any suggestions, leave them below. Deuces.